Not everything labeled as butter is actually butter. And some of the brands you trust most may be trading off your health every single day. In today's video, we take a deep dive into what really lies behind those seemingly harmless blocks of butter on supermarket shelves. From names once seen as symbols of quality, to quietly altered formulas, fine print most people never read, and stories the food industry would rather you didn't question. But it's not all bleak. At the end of the video, we'll highlight a few rare choices that still hold on to honesty. Brands that don't rely on manipulation or flashy marketing, and that genuinely deserve a second look from consumers. If you care about your health, transparency, and real investigative work in the food industry, hit like, subscribe to the channel, and share this video. Stay until the end, because the most worthwhile names are often not where you expect them to be. 1. Kerrygold. For many years, Kerrygold was seen as a symbol of premium Irish butter. Its marketing was always tied to images of grass-fed cows, naturally golden color, and pure European quality. For many Americans, Kerrygold was once a trusted choice at the dinner table. But in 2023, that trust began to crack. Independent testing in the US detected PFAS in the foil packaging used to wrap the butter. PFAS are a group of persistent chemicals that do not break down easily, can remain in the body for long periods, and have been scientifically linked to endocrine disruption, weakened immune function, and increased cancer risk with prolonged exposure. The seriousness of the findings led some US states to temporarily halt sales of the product until the packaging was changed. And it didn't stop there. Kerrygold's spreadable butter line also disappointed consumers. It was no longer pure butter, but blended with canola oil and artificial coloring to maintain an appealing appearance. Consumers paid for pure butter, but in reality received a diluted product that had also been wrapped in chemical-treated packaging. This serves as a clear reminder that even premium brands can trade safety for market share. 2. Country Life. For many years, Country Life was built as a symbol of Britain itself. Advertising filled with countryside imagery, green pastures, and a slogan so familiar, it nearly became part of the collective memory of millions of Americans. But behind the polished image of this everyday butter brand lies a harsh betrayal of trust. The truth is right there in the ingredient list. Country Life's spreadable range contains only about 50% butter. The rest is made up of vegetable oils and water. Put plainly, half of what you spread on your bread doesn't come from cow's milk. Consumers believe they're buying butter, but in reality, they're paying for a product that has been carefully diluted. That trust eroded further in 2008, when Country Life was forced to recall products after green plastic fragments were found mixed into the butter, caused by faulty machinery. For a basic food like butter, this represents a serious failure of even the most minimal safety controls. When butter is not only diluted but has also once contained plastic, the question becomes unavoidable. Are you paying for quality or for the comfort of a product rooted in memory? 3. Lurpak. With its shiny silver foil, higher than average price, and premium image, Lurpak is often seen as a safe choice for consumers willing to pay extra for quality. But the change didn't come through a major scandal. It happened quietly on the ingredient label, a place very few people actually read. Lurpak spreadable once contained over 85% butter. Today that number has dropped to about 63.7%. The rest isn't anything magical, just canola oil and water. Real butter was removed, while the premium feeling stayed exactly the same on the packaging. Lurpak's problem isn't food poisoning or product recalls, it's business ethics. During the cost of living crisis, a pack of Lurpak in the US has at times reached $7 to $8, while the package size was reduced, pushing the price per pound significantly higher. This is shrinkflation, consumers paying more money for less butter. Lurpak may not make you sick overnight, but by selling oil and water at the price of real butter, the brand is slowly eroding trust, layer by layer, through consumers' wallets and perceptions. If Lurpak shows how a premium brand quietly strips away value, the next story goes a step further. Some products don't just change how much butter they contain, they change their very identity. One day it's one thing, the next day it's something else, leaving consumers unsure of what they're actually trusting. And that's when the problem is no longer on the ingredient label, but in the instability of trust itself. 4. Flora. Once heavily promoted in the US as a heart-healthy choice, Flora spent years cultivating a clean, gentle, plant-forward image aimed at people looking to avoid animal butter. But Flora's problem isn't one single mistake. It's a pattern of constant, hard-to-believe changes. At one point, Flora was marketed as fully vegan. Then it wasn't. Then it became vegan again. Each shift came with a new message, but little clear explanation for consumers. The same thing happened with palm oil. The brand once claimed no palm oil, then quietly reintroduced it into the formula, disclosed only in small print on the label. In terms of ingredients, Flora often contains palm oil, emulsifiers, stabilizers, and artificial butter-flavored additives. These frequent formula changes create real risks for people with allergies and those on restricted diets, because no one can be sure whether the product they buy today is the same as the one they bought last month. Trust began to break down when environmental organizations criticized Flora over its palm oil sourcing and links to deforestation. The packaging talks about sustainability and for the planet, but the data and supply chain tell a different story. With Flora, the issue isn't just what you're eating. It's that you're never quite sure what you're eating. 5. Blue Bonnet. On paper, legally speaking, Blue Bonnet is margarine, not butter. But in real life, it's displayed right next to butter, given a butter-evoking name, and advertised with butter imagery for decades. For busy American consumers, that distinction has all but disappeared. Look at the ingredient list and the story becomes clear. Refined vegetable oils, emulsifiers, artificial flavoring, and not a trace of natural dairy fat. This isn't churned cream. It's an industrial formula engineered to look like butter, spread like butter, and melt like butter. The core problem with Blue Bonnet isn't that it exists, it's how it's sold. This is not an honest alternative food. It's a decades-long bait and switch that leads consumers to believe they're eating something close to butter, when in reality, it's an entirely different product dressed up in butter's image. After a long list of brands that have compromised on quality, diluted their formulas, and hidden the truth, the question is no longer which butter should you avoid, but rather, are there still any brands that have done things right from the very beginning? The answer is yes. There are still a few names that have chosen to do things the right way, and below are some butter brands that are actually worth using. 1. Organic Valley Butter. After all the scandals that have been exposed, Organic Valley feels like a necessary pause. No controversy, no shock factor. Just a brand that deliberately moves against the tide of industrialized food. Organic Valley is a cooperative of thousands of American farmers, people who directly own and control the products they make. Their butter is USDA organic certified, with no added oils, no flavorings, and no artificial coloring. The ingredient list is almost old-fashionedly simple: cream and salt. Organic Valley's supply chain is transparent from farm to table, with strict quality controls and full traceability. When you take a bite of bread spread with their butter, you notice the natural richness, the fresh dairy aroma, and a clean, straightforward finish. No greasy coating, no artificial aftertaste. Organic Valley doesn't try to convince you that they're heart-healthy or that they're saving the planet. They do one thing, and they do it consistently. They make butter the way butter is supposed to be. In a market crowded with blends and substitutions, that simplicity is exactly what makes them trustworthy. 2. Plug Raw Butter. If Organic Valley represents farm-level purity, then Plug Raw butter is proof of quality that's been tested and proven in professional kitchens. Plug Raw didn't rise to prominence through TV ads or flowery promises. It's known for one very specific number: a high butterfat content, around 82%. That number makes a clear difference in cooking. The butter melts more slowly, holds its structure better, and delivers a deeper, rounder, cleaner flavor. Plug Raw's formula is short and straightforward. No added oils, no flavorings. That's why it's trusted by American bakeries and chefs. Not because of an emotional brand story, but because it delivers repeatable results. Evenly risen pastries, crisp crusts, and a distinct buttery aroma when exposed to heat. Plus Gras doesn't try to tell you who they are. They let temperature, texture, and flavor speak for themselves. And that's a rare approach left in the food industry today. Not telling you what to believe, but letting your own experience give you the answer. After everything we've just seen, the message is clear. Not everything called butter deserves your trust. Some brands have traded purity for scale, profit, and image. But there are still names that choose transparency, simplicity, and doing things right from the start. So the question for you is this: the block of butter sitting in your refrigerator, does it belong to marketing or to the truth? Read labels more carefully, ask more questions, and don't let shopping habits make health decisions for you. If this investigation helped you see more clearly behind the supermarket shelf, hit like, subscribe to the channel, and share this video so more people don't keep consuming stories wrapped in shiny foil. We'll be back to continue exposing what the food industry doesn't want you to know.